This week we covered 4 chapters looking beyond andragogy, looking what else is out there. And it starts off by looking at new perspectives and new ways of looking at those 6 principles. By looking at what research has been done, what they're saying, and what has changed. So as the book walked through each of those 6 principles, it talks about the idea of the learner needing to know. And what's important now is what will be learned, why it is valuable, and what they need to know. So learners want to answer those questions, and I think about that when I'm trying to design a class, that those are important. People want a class where it's valuable, that what will be learned, what are they going to learn, and then why, what's the value in doing that. Next is the idea that self-directedness. There are 2 areas in that, in self-teaching and personal autonomy. And when you look at an adult learner, it's expected that they have both those traits, that they can teach themselves and that they have that autonomy about them. And those are key factors that you don't necessarily find in your non-adult learners. Then they go into the adult experience and how research has been showing that bias is having an impact, and that people like to learn in a certain fashion and they don't necessarily want to change. And as adult learners, we have to learn to overcome that and realize there are other ways to learn, and that we all bring our own bias into the learning environment, and to be able to look past that to actually see what's going on. Then they go into the level of readiness, meaning how ready are we to learn, and talk about being prepared to learn, and tying this closely to the need to know. As far as we're ready to learn, we need to know there's value in this for us. Then within the real life context, as far as we don't want to learn just to learn. What is the real life context? How will this benefit us? Yes, we may like to read on the side, or even learn on the side. But when we're learning, when we're in a training program, when you guys are in a class, what is the real life context? What can I get out of this class? And then finally, motivation, and that there is a difference between adults and non-adults as far as motivation goes, and that we have a different level of motivation. Obviously, for you all, you guys probably had the option to go to school or not. You could have done other things. My daughter, who's about to start kindergarten, she doesn't have a choice. She's going to school. It doesn't matter if she's motivated or not. She's going to be there, and she's expected to do well. For you guys could wake up tomorrow to say, I don't want to take any more classes. I'm just not interested. So you have to be motivated because you want to better your life. You want to become more educated. You want to advance your career, whatever. And those are some different perspectives and what the research is telling us in those areas. Next up, looking at the next chapter, I looked at it more so as looking at differences and how we can adjust our teaching based on cognitive levels. Obviously, we're not all of the same level of intelligence, and we're all over the place, and we have to take that into account when designing different programs. We have to think about, again, it goes back to thinking about our students or our population and what characteristics they bring from a cognitive level, from a learning style level, and what are their preferences. So when we think even about learning styles, obviously we all learn different, and you want to present information in different manners so that way everybody has the opportunity to match their learning style with the content, and it makes it easier to learn. I know for me, my biggest weakness is reading. If I have to read a book, I may have to read it a couple times to fully get the content, but if I could sit down and have a discussion, I'll remember the information, not quite word for word, but close for word. So that is a strength for me. Or I'd rather watch a video than listen to a lecture. If it's discussion, if it's interactive, if it's hands-on, that works for me. So I could take a training session that is 100% lecture, and I'm going to struggle maybe because of the learning or the approach to learning, and also the preference of how we like to learn, how we like to be taught. And that plays an impact in the learning environment. So we need to be aware of our learners, what experiences, what prior knowledge is, and what preferences they have. Then it went into IT and the role of IT on adult learning and how that's changing. 20, 30 years ago, we didn't have the internet. Computers weren't as prominent. Now, everything is technology driven. There are several learning programs out there that are 100% work at your own pace. I think of like Udacity and some of these other programs where they have videos, they have other things, but it's all 100% self-learning. And you go at your pace and you learn the material when you have time, which I definitely think there's some benefits to, but I think sometimes in these technology-driven courses, you lose that interaction. I know even in online courses, it's been a long debate on how do we still make these courses interactive so you don't feel like you're taking them in isolation. But it is a good way to also gain expertise, to gain certification. There are numerous programs available where you can get certification. I always like to give the example. A few years ago, I was at a Nissan dealership buying a car, and the salesman next to me didn't have any customers. And he was going through a training tutorial on his computer while he was sitting there. He was going to get credit for doing that while he sat there and waited for other customers. It was all self-directed. He had to go through, he had to read, he had to answer questions. But it provides that opportunity. IT provides that opportunity instead of every month that Nissan dealership holding a training session. They say, here it is, do it at your convenience, which is nice because then they can track who doesn't, and who does not participate. Then the last chapter gets into neuroscience and doesn't go very deep into the issue. And as they point out, there's not a lot of research on this. They're just beginning to understand. I found that the idea of the learning environment important and emotion important, and these play a role in our learning. We want a learning environment that is conducive for learning, and that we need to be aware of our emotions and how they impact our learning. Overall, I thought this was a good build upon adult learning and looking outside of andragogy. And as we saw last week, there are numerous other learning theories associated with adults. So it's not just, here's andragogy, this is set in stone. There are other methods, and we'll continue to explore those throughout the semester.